I know Turge said that, the Diamond Stone stuff and the article that came out had literally nothing to do with it. They gave it no mind. He told them it had nothing to do with them. Do you think that's true, though?
That's a big distraction.
Yeah, do you think that's true?
I think it probably had something to do with it, a little bit to do with it. Keep in mind, too, EB, that most of these guys, with the exception of maybe Michael Tchaikovsky, even Benner, most of these guys really didn't know Diamond. He was there for basically a cup of coffee. And but still, you get all the notoriety, you get all the press hanging out and asking questions. So, to a degree, it's a distraction. But I think when you say that, too, you minimize what Michigan did. I mean, they just came in and just throttled us. I mean, I mean, as kind of a basketball nerd, I'm a huge fan of watching the way they play. And I just think that, they were as good as we were, awful on Saturday. So it's kind of a perfect storm of those things.
They hit 15 threes in the game. It seemed like most of them were in the first half because they scored 54.
10 in the first half. And
they were just on fire.
Well, the other thing is this, it's sort of lost in the, you get sort of enamored, as LeBron said last night, right? Chicks dig the long ball, and you get sort of taken by that. But one of the more amazing stats about Michigan, they never turned the ball over, which is pretty incredible. Anyways, they had 3 turnovers in the first 4 possessions of the game and ended the game with 8.
That's
so
pretty damn good.
36 minutes of play, they turned the ball over 5 times, which is just absurd. In this day and age in college basketball. So, like I said, they were really good, and the home team was not good. So that's what happens.
When you look back on this season, barring some unforeseen run here in the conference tournament, they're probably not going to make the tournament, and that's fine. They've been the 3 previous years. Are we going to look back on this as sort of the season that could have been because of the injuries?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you want to spin it. Obviously the injuries had a big part in the direction of the season. And when Justin Jackson went down in, November/December, I was hopeful that the vacuum could be filled by a handful of guys. Daryl Morcell primarily, who's a freshman, and, I think who had a pretty good season, who has had a pretty good season, a little bit up and down, but you just missed the presence. You missed the regular 9-10 rebounds per game. Justin also was a really capable defender at the 3 spot. And so, injuries are a huge part of it. But, gosh, you know what, man? We played a lot of teams this year that were stung by injuries or issues. And you just have to deal with it. And I hate to –
They had enough then, in your opinion. They had enough.
You mean without Justin? Yeah, I think they did, and I think they were missed opportunities. Lots of painful losses on the road. Where it's a possession game. At Indiana, at Nebraska, at Michigan. Last year they won those games, and of course one of the differences is they had Melo Trimble last year. But the last couple of years they won more than their share of those games, and this year that it didn't happen.
So Turgeon says that he or any of his staff, nobody on his staff knew anybody from the ASM Sports Agency, and he had no idea what was going on. By the way, that's a random number that Diamond Stone got, 14,303. I don't
Yeah, but weren't there a lot of randoms? I mean,
yes. It's weird. That's a weird number.
I mean, I thought it's a remarkable story, and we're just seeing. You just get the impression that today or tomorrow, something else could drop where you're like, shaking your head.
Well, I think we will. But I guess my question is, Chris, what side of the fence do you fall on when this happens? Do you fall on the side? Now, what Sean Miller did is outrageous, and, I wouldn't be surprised if he never coaches again. But with Turge, when they plead ignorance and they say, look, we just didn't know what was going on, are you on the side of the fence that you're okay with penalties either way? Or do you feel bad for these programs that really can't control an agent and a player and what they do in their private time?
Yeah, I think that the whole thing, Lurch, is just completely broken. When the one and done whole one thing is just a complete you have these agents basically who understand that one of the ways to really sort of ingrain yourself, I think, is to shortcut the process. It used to be, 20, 25 years ago, everything would go through the coach and through the program itself, where, you'd sit with agents and interview agents after the season. That's BS anymore. I mean, these guys just cut right to the chase with the kids and their parents. And the kids and the parents know exactly how this game is played. Again, the numbers that we see, the cash, the outlays, this is just a drop in the bucket compared to what goes. That's just one agent, one agency,
Right, right, right,
and one shoe company. And we're just really kind of just this is just the tip.
Well, what can you do? How can you stop agents from? How can you stop an agent?
Well, I mean, one of the things you have to do is you sort of have to deal with you have to sort of address the core. The NCAA has absolutely no juice, and I don't think has a whole lot of interest or appetite in fixing the problem.
I agree with that.
And they have no subpoena power, which leaves them, they have no testicles in this thing. They have no juice to combat the problem. So you have to, it's sort of an all-front thing where you have to do away with the one-and-done thing. Hey, you know what? If kids want to bypass college basketball, let them bypass college basketball.